Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Matthew once again with the round 4 conclusion video. So, in the last video, we had 4 matchups, and we actually called out 5 competitors, but with only 7 matchups remaining, I actually decided to use the first 4. And so, in the last video, the 5th matchup featured Sergeant Slaughter squaring off against the custom Series 3 Brutus Beefcake, or what I call the Mega Maniac Brutus Beefcake. So that's going to be the first matchup. And from there, we are going to see Series 8 Yokozuna squaring off against Papa Shango. Ooh, that is a tough one. But a great matchup nonetheless. So, that leaves Berserker squaring off against the Series 10 Shawn Michaels as the last figure remaining. Alright. So, first matchup, again, Mega Maniac Brutus Beefcake is going to do battle with Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant Slaughter is an absolutely phenomenal piece. Just kind of looking at the last 14 figures that were remaining in this 4th round, do I honestly believe that he was a good enough figure to be in round 4 when you have like Series 7 and Series 11 Crush not in competition, when Series 11 Yokozuna, Series 3 Big Boss Man, Series 3 Brutus Beefcake, the mail away Hulk Hogan. I mean, there's just so many absolutely phenomenal figures that were eliminated in both first and second round, and didn't really have an opportunity to have much of a showing because of the random drawing, especially coming in round 2 and onward. I absolutely love Sergeant Slaughter. I love this figure. It's truly remarkable. When you compare him to the rest of the figures remaining in this battle, I already know if he does push forward to round 5, he won't be my winner. I'm glad that he had the solid run that he did, but I just don't see him beating any of my competitors that has already pushed forward into round 5. So if he does defeat Brutus Beefcake in this video, he'll probably be out by then. Problem is, does Brutus Beefcake push forward to round 5 and get eliminated then, or does he have a shot at making it in round 6? It's a fantastic figure. I absolutely love it. I don't know, because these are 2 fantastic pieces, right? So, may not have been better than some of the names I've discussed, but he is a legitimate contender nonetheless. If he wasn't a solid figure all around, he would not be here in round 4. So, I can talk down about the Sergeant Slaughter figure all I want. It's still an absolutely phenomenal figure. The one downside, the thing that I dislike most about the figure is the stupid pointer finger. I have figures where he's missing that finger, and sometimes I look at the figure, I don't even notice it. You just see this little nub, and you just think, oh well, that's what it looks like. And then you look at your other figures, and you're like, oh wait, he's supposed to actually have a finger. LJN does that a lot with other figures, with like Big Boss Man and Rick Martel and who else? I'm trying to think. With Hacksaw Jim Duggan with a thumbs up, I think B. Brian Blair has the finger up or 2. Or maybe Jim Brunzell. No, it's Jim Brunzell that has the thumbs up. But you find all of these different figures with these fingers up. Who's that? Johnny Valiant has a finger up. Hasbro, even they got their figures with the thumbs up, or, like the Duggan, or the finger pointer with the Sergeant Slaughter. It's like, man, why? If you're a kid and you're wrestling these guys, it is too easy when you're, sitting there and you're punching or you're dropping these figures for that stuff to break off. So that's really kind of frustrating. With the rubber from LJN, I get it. Probably not going to happen as often. even though you come across a number of big boss man figures where that finger is always missing, but not a favorite among these figures. You take away, give him a closed fist. It is, dare I say, a perfect figure. I absolutely love the figure because of the built-in accessory, kind of like the Mountie, who has built-in hats as well. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. So Mountie obviously won, Sergeant Slaughter. I believe there's one other character that I'm not thinking of. Dang, who else has a hat? Papa Shango has one. Undertaker, shoot. Papa Shango, Undertaker, Sergeant Slaughter, etc. So, it is a beautiful look. It has the Sergeant Slaughter face. I love the Drill Sergeant hat, as I've talked about in the past. With his woodland camouflage pants and everything, it's just a beautiful look. I absolutely love the Drill Sergeant display look of this figure. And I keep talking about this figure because I know I'm probably not going to push him forward, question mark. Is he a sure thing to get eliminated by Brutus Beefcake here? No. That's why I'm going to spend a little bit talking about Brutus Beefcake just to make sure I do make the right decision. So, in Series 1, Brutus Beefcake, he had this face. They reused it again on the Series 3 Beefcake, which sucked. Again, like Bret Hart or Mr. Perfect, any of those other, new figures where they just did repaints. I would have loved to have seen them put a brand new head on the figure, make it a completely new character. Marty Jannetty, same thing. Series 2 to compared to Series 9. Or was that Series 10? No, I think Marty Jannetty Series 10. They did it with Shawn Michaels from Series 2 to Series 7, gave him a brand new head mold, and that was perfect. But then they used 7 and 10 this episode. Anyways, but the overall look of the figure, again, perfection. With the arms straight out, one of my favorite aspects of the figure because you can always do the whole arm up like this. Now, some figures, like Sergeant Slaughter, when you raise one arm, they both go up, and that is a huge help. Whereas with this figure, you basically have to kind of like twist it around in order to get to the angle you want it. But both arms do move up and down, so you could always find that right spot. So if you want to sit there and you want to wrestle these guys and you want to do a body slam, guess what? You could basically do it at any angle. You don't have to sit there and be tied down to a certain pose. Imagine if his hands were like this. Okay, good for punching. Okay pose, not great. But then he basically turns into like a Galoob Sting figure or Macho Man from LJN where the hands are up like this, So if it's a stationary figure, you can't do anything with this. But this right here, this is why Hasbro has always remained my priority, my main focus. Even though I love the collecting LJNs, I think more than Hasbro's, I still keep Hasbro at number one. Yes, nostalgia, but because of the certain aspects that the figures provide that no other line can do. Once you get in like stupid like Mattel and Jakks with their legs and start swiveling all over the place and arms start swiveling, no. I absolutely despise that. That's horrendous. Stationary legs, arms up and down. Alright guys, I don't want to make this a 30-minute video, so I'm going to shut up now and I'm going to make my selection. Kind of talking about the figures, I actually think I might have talked my way into picking Sergeant Slaughter. Man. And that's what I talk about. You might hold a figure up and think, well, this guy has no chance at winning. And then you start looking the figure over, talking about it a little bit, rehashing, memories and stuff. And all of a sudden, that figure becomes so much brighter, so much better than you could have ever, hoped or ever thought. I'm not going to do it though. The Robert Jackson custom with the Mega Maniac Brutus Beefcake. I still want to see this one in the quarterfinals. Once he gets to the final four, I don't know if he'll make it past whoever he faces off in that matchup to make it to the finals. He may not make it out of round 5. Again, regardless of whether it was a 4th round elimination, a 5th round elimination, or if he wins the entire tournament, he had a phenomenal showing. I absolutely love this figure, and it has proven to me to be one of the most elite and one of my absolute favorite figures of my collection. So, Brutus Beefcake defeats Sergeant Slaughter. The next matchup we're talking about is going to feature Papa Shango doing battle with Yokozuna. Here's the interesting thing about Papa Shango. I think in the last 2 rounds, I think in round 2 he defeated Adam Bomb, if I'm not mistaken. And I think in round 3 he defeated Crush. I don't remember if it was Series 11 Crush or if it was Series 7 Crush. I think it was Series 7 Kona Crush. And I think the only reason I did that is because I liked his fighting pose better than that, super extended arm that those 2 figures provided. So that was pretty interesting that, he had just those 2 matchups alone were pretty significant and pretty much makes this a worthy figure to move on to. You kind of like, what? You've had a hard enough time. I'm going to put you in the semifinals just because. That's how I feel about this figure right now. If he defeats Yokozuna, I think we might have I think I may have chosen my finalist in between the custom Brett and Papa Shango because, wow. The Yokozuna figure, I mean, there's just nothing you really say about the figure that hasn't already been said. I look at this figure and I just think about him going to the second rope, whatever, jumping off the rope. And look at that. Even just kind of pinning the guy right now, the way that his body, his rump kind of is shaped, not because of obviously his size, but when you think when you're sitting there and if you're playing on your ring or sitting at a table or something, you're pretending to jump to the top rope and you jump off and do the little squash that he does. I mean, just look at how he freaking sits on that figure. That's pretty freaking amazing. I absolutely love that. A freaking awesome figure, man. I love this figure so much, and to think that I got rid of 2 Yokozuna figures in the first 2 rounds, the custom at the end of round 1, and then the Series 11 round 2. That is freaking crazy. And I'm going to stop using the word freaking because I keep saying it. Absolutely love this figure. And I remember the first time I bought this figure and I held it in my hand and just feeling the weight of the figure. I'm like, man, this has got to be the most valuable figure of the entire Hasbro line. This thing is freaking awesome. I love it. Caught myself. This is a tough one. I mean, pretty much all of these matches from the get-go have been tough matches. I mean, even the matches where I've been able to have a decision made in half of a second. Even that matchup, you don't want to get rid of the figure that's being eliminated because maybe you like the design or you may not like the pose or something, but the overall look of the figure is pretty phenomenal. Like the Rick Rude figures that I have, customs I have. The Yokozuna figure is just... I mean, I've never had this, so I can't really say... I never actually played with these guys, not as a kid and not as an adult, so I really don't know how well they play, but I mean, come on, you hold them in your hand and you can feel how you would use them, and you just know how much fun you would get, how much enjoyment you would get from the Yokozuna figure. I mean, I'm gonna choose Yokozuna. I just have to. I think Papa Shango went further than I could have ever hoped. I think maybe if I were to just pick this off the shelf one day, I would think maybe a second round, maybe a third rounder at best. To make it to the fourth round, which is like the elite status for these tournaments, and to almost, and yes, it was closer than I let on. He could have defeated Yokozuna, and if he had done so, there is no reason to suspect he couldn't have made it to the bottom four at some point and won this whole tournament. He just has a phenomenal look with a great accessory, and when you throw in some of those custom accessories as well that fit in both of his hands, it's just an absolutely fantastic figure. And what do I always say? Arm punching motion, not my favorite, but it's one of those figures among the Virgil or the Papa Shango figures that, that punching motion works beautifully. Awesome look to the figure. It was close, but just no dice. So, Papa Shango is out. And Yokozuna, I am going to re-robe him. Alright, Yokozuna is still in. So, the last matchup is going to feature Series 10 Series 10 Shawn Michaels going against the Berserker. Oddly enough, I kind of feel like the Berserker might actually be a better figure than Shawn Michaels. Yes, I had Shawn Michaels on my top 10 list, and I probably would have never imagined putting Berserker on the top 10. I probably never would have imagined putting him on the top 20 or top 30 even. But kind of using him round after round, talking about him, looking at the look of this figure, not only with the custom sword, but with his robe accessory. This is an absolutely phenomenal figure. I might be crazy for saying this, but just kind of looking at it, the poses and everything, someone's going to shoot me, but I think Berserker is better than Shawn Michaels. What? Alright, so Shawn Michaels. We already know the Series 10 is a top 5 action figure from Hasbro. Whether you like the white and red pants or the black and gray pants, again, I always do the second variant of the figure. I like the Series 10 with like a special mention of Series 7 when I did my review of favorite Hasbro figures. Same thing with Bret Hart. I had Series 8 on my list with a special shout out to Series 4, or I don't know, Yokozuna on my top 10 with the Series 8 figure with a special shout out to Series 11 type of deal. That way fans or viewers got the chance to see both versions. But I would just basically choose the one I like the most. Or you could say this figure was 1A, 1B. This figure was 10A, 10B type of deal. And I can't get this belt tight enough around his waist. It keeps loosening and it's driving me nuts. So, Shawn Michaels, either 7 or 10, whichever one you like best. Much better. I mean, a light years better from Series 2 Shawn Michaels, which is arguably one of the worst of the line. So they went with a body of Macho Man from Series 1. So the overall look of the figure, the way that the legs are posed, not quite spread apart the way you would like, but I mean still a fightable figure. Great, fighting pose, kind of gives a more, not quite a Virgil, but it gives you like a nice little boxing type look to it. So much better with the head mold of Shawn Michaels in Series 7, which they utilized in Series 10. Overall, again, I think this was if not number 3, maybe number 4 on my top 10 list. And then you look at Berserker. again, a Jim Duggan body. I've said it throughout this tournament that Jim Duggan, to me, had the most playable figure. If you're sitting there and you're as a kid, adult, whatever, and you've got like a Series 2 Jim Duggan figure, the figure, even if it's mint condition, think of it this way. That figure is so abundant, you can't buy a single lot of Hasbro action figures without having a Jim Duggan Series 2 included. That figure is so common and so inexpensive that you can sit there, wrestle a mint condition Jim Duggan, and never have to worry about it breaking or losing or chipping paint or anything, because you could always replenish that in a heartbeat. With the Berserker figure, you change it to some nice darker brown colors. The robe accessory, which is perfect. Beautiful head mold of the figure. And again, it's a much more playable figure, I would think, than Shawn Michaels. I think for nostalgic reasons, because Shawn Michaels is among my all-time favorite wrestlers. And Berserker, yeah, I watched him as a kid, but, he wasn't like anyone like super special, someone that you obsessed over. I would absolutely die to meet this man in real life and to get his autograph. But, we're past 20 minutes. I'm surprised that this took over 20 minutes, but then again, am I really surprised? I mean, we're talking about this round, last 14 figures. I mean, how do you choose between the best of your best? I know I'm probably going to choose Shawn Michaels. I think there's an 85% chance I choose Shawn Michaels. But everything inside me is screaming Berserker. And it's like a movie. If you say I like this movie, this is my favorite movie as a 30-year-old, maybe it's because you said that was my favorite movie as a 15-year-old. Or, at age 60, if someone's asked you, hey, what's your favorite movie? Favorite movie is Cruel Intentions. Well, why do you like Cruel Intentions? I don't know. It was my favorite movie when I was 13 or 14. Yeah, so it's just always been my favorite movie. So, hey, why would I not choose that as my favorite movie? Or my favorite movie is Halloween 4. Something like that. I don't know. Had to throw a Sarah Michelle Gellar movie out there with Cruel Intentions. I always loved Buffy. It's my favorite show growing up. Probably still be my favorite show by any standard, but anyways. Yeah. I am sticking with Shawn Michaels. I think this is a fantastic piece, but even though I think this Berserker might actually be better than a majority, if not all, of the figures we just looked at that won in this round, as far as playability and everything, I think nostalgia, and I think based on those pants alone, which are freaking amazing, I think I would choose that this guy would have a better opportunity to move forward to additional rounds, and it would have the best opportunity to win this entire tournament. Berserker was never on my top 10 list. If I were to go back and make a top 10 list right now, I'd probably still have it set up the same way I had it a year ago. I really don't think anything would really change. Not really. And I've talked about it with the LJN tournament, or with the LJNs. Last year when I completed my first LJN tournament, I decided to do a top 10 favorite because I wanted to see, how I'd break it down. And then I, in my videos, I always talk about, well, I think this is a top 25 figure, or I think I'd rate this figure at number 27, or I think I'd estimate that I'd put this figure at number 32. But they're just best guesses. You never know where you'd actually classify or where you would rate those figures. So I went out and I did a video, 11 through 20, 21 through 30, 31 through 40. the first video saved, the last two didn't, and I was so ticked off about that. And then I started making a, that's why I didn't go back and redo the last two videos, because that was a lot of time and work that went into those videos. And at the time I had a second LJN tournament starting up, so I decided not to post that video until after that tournament was over. And so I made that video in like October, and I didn't post it until like December or January or something. The plan is still to go back and redo 21 through the end of the LJNs, because I really want to know how I'd actually rate each figure. But I like to do the same thing with these, but I just feel like that would take forever. I mean, you could spread them all out, look at them all you want, but how do you really choose? Berserker is going home for the tournament. And number 7 of our 7 characters moving forward to round 5 is Shawn Michaels from Series 10. Alright, just to recap, moving on to round 5 is the custom Bret Hart from Denver Moore, the Series 4 Bret Hart, the Series 8 Bret Hart, the Series 8 Undertaker, the Mega Maniac Custom Brutus Beefcake, Series 8 Yokozuna, and Series 10 Shawn Michaels. So it's 7 figures. The next video, round 5, only going to be one video. I'm going to have 2 matchups where it's 1-on-1, and then the very last matchup will be a 1-on-1-on-1. And with 7 of the most elite figures left, but with 3 Bret Harts remaining out of 7, I mean, that's like a, what is it, like 44% or something like that percent chance of winning. Having a Bret Hart figure win this competition, that's crazy. But that'll be 3 winners. Moving on to round 6. And so we won't have 7 rounds. We'll have 6 rounds. And round 6, again, just one matchup, so that'll just be one video. But because I'll have 3 of my best figures remaining, that'll probably be a 20 or 30 minute video, because I won't know who to choose. But I'm going to close the video here, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will continue to make these videos until I complete the tournament and have those ready in queue, ready for posting when the time comes. Once again, today's date is Saturday, March 25th. So, hopefully I'll have these posted within the first week or so of April. Alright. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you soon.